All right, welcome back to the deep dive. You know we love digging into complex topics, and today we're tackling something pretty fascinating. Constitutional AI in CRM. You sent this in. And it's a great topic because AI is popping up everywhere, but it's getting really powerful, especially in how businesses use it to connect with us, like through CRM.
Yeah, you're right. We've moved way past AI just suggesting stuff to buy or blocking spam. It's really getting into the nitty-gritty of how businesses figure us out, meet our needs. Sometimes it feels like they know what we want before we do.
Whoa, yeah, that is a little freaky if you stop and think about it. But okay, so where does constitutional AI come in? It sounds super official, like straight out of a sci-fi movie or something.
Well, it's a good name because it's basically about setting some ground rules for AI. Think of it like, a constitution. It's like the fundamental rights, the principles that make sure AI is used ethically. It's very important when it comes to things like CRM, where they're using our data, making decisions about us.
Right. So if AI in CRM is like this powerful engine, constitutional AI is like the brakes, making sure it doesn't go off the rails. What are some of those key principles that make up this like AI constitution?
Well, transparency is a big one. Imagine if you got rejected for a loan and you had no idea why. Like, what if some AI decided, but you couldn't understand its reasoning? Constitutional AI is all about making sure AI is explainable. Like, companies should be able to explain how their AI is working, especially when it's making decisions that directly affect us.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I wouldn't want some algorithm judging me without knowing why. It also seems like control over our data is a huge part of this. I mean, companies are collecting so much information about us, right?
Absolutely. And with AI getting smarter, that data becomes even more valuable. Constitutional AI is really big on data governance, basically, having clear rules about how that customer data is collected, stored, and used. It's about giving us control, giving us transparency.
So it's not just about keeping our privacy, but making sure our data isn't used to, I don't know, manipulate us or make unfair decisions about us. Like, I wouldn't want to be bombarded with ads just because some AI thinks I'm like a total impulse shopper.
That's a perfect example. It's about making sure these tools are working for us, not the other way around. Making sure they're being used to improve our lives, not take advantage of our, weaknesses.
Right, right. So your research gets into specific ways to actually build this kind of ethical AI. What jumped out at you as like the most important thing, especially when we're talking about CRM?
Well, I think a really important thing is building in safeguards for the beginning. Like, let's say you've got AI that's figuring out, who gets a loan. You'd want to make sure that AI isn't just repeating the biases we already see in the financial system.
You mean like denying people loans based on their zip code or something? Stuff that has nothing to do with whether they can actually pay it back.
Exactly. It's about actively trying to prevent the AI from making those kinds of unfair judgments. It's a constant process, but it's crucial if we want AI to be part of a fairer system, not make things worse.
I see what you mean. But making an AI that's completely free from bias, that's got to be a huge challenge, even if you are trying your best. Like, where do you even start with something like that?
It's definitely not simple, and there's no magic bullet, really. But one thing you can do is be super careful about the data you use to train the AI. Make sure it's diverse, representative of the people the AI will be dealing with, because if your training data is messed up, the AI is going to be messed up too.
So it's like bad data in, bad data out, right?
Yeah.
Even if the algorithm is super fancy, if you feed it bad information, you're going to get bad results.
Exactly. But the good news is there are a lot of really smart people working on this. For example, they're developing this technique called adversarial training. Basically, you have two AI systems battling it out, trying to catch each other's biases.
Whoa, that's wild. Like AI versus AI to make things more just and equitable, like some kind of futuristic courtroom drama.
It's pretty cool. The idea is if these AI systems are constantly challenging each other, they can uncover and fix biases that humans might miss.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like having a built-in ethics check, making sure the AI is playing fair.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it really highlights that building ethical AI isn't a one-time thing. It's this constant process. Monitoring, refining, adapting.
And that's where the explainable AI part gets even more important, right? If we don't understand how AI is making decisions, how can we possibly trust it to be fair?
Absolutely. Explainable AI is about shining a light on those decisions, making the black box of AI more transparent. If AI is affecting your life, you should know why. It's about building trust, not just in the tech itself, but in the people who are using it.
This is all so thought-provoking, and I can already see how constitutional AI could really change how we interact with businesses in the future. But I gotta ask, Are there actually companies doing this in their CRM systems right now? Or is it still mostly theory?
Well, it's still early days, but there are definitely companies who are starting to realize how important ethical AI is and are trying to put it into practice. For example, some are using explainable AI techniques to be more transparent with their customers about how AI is involved.
So it's like they're saying, hey, we're using AI to make things better for you, but we want you to understand how it works and feel good about it.
Exactly. It's about building trust, showing a commitment to doing things the right way. And as we all get more savvy about these issues, we're going to demand that from companies.
Makes sense. It's like a domino effect. People get more aware, and then it pushes the whole industry to change. So it sounds like constitutional AI isn't just an abstract idea. It's starting to have a real-world impact.
Oh, definitely. And as AI becomes more and more part of our lives, these ethical questions are only going to get bigger. We're at a really crucial point where we can choose to shape the future of AI and make sure it's a force for good.
Powerful stuff. This deep dive has been incredibly insightful. It's making me think a lot about how complex AI is and how it's playing a role in CRM. But we've just skimmed the surface, haven't we? There's so much more to explore.
There is. In the next part, we'll get into some of the challenges and opportunities ahead as AI keeps evolving. And we'll talk about how we can all play a role in making sure the future of AI is, a positive one.
It makes you think about the businesses, right? They want to use AI to, do everything it can do. But they also have to make sure they aren't using it to, take advantage of people or do things that are ethically kind of shady.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for sure. And a lot of companies are really struggling with it right now. I mean, think about it. AI can do amazing things, right? Make the customer experience better, make everything more efficient. It can give them a real edge over the competition. But yeah, there's that risk, the risk that they might push it too far, use it in ways that people don't trust.
It's not just about being ethical, is it? It's about staying in business.
Yeah.
If people think a company is using AI to manipulate them, that's going to hurt their reputation big time.
Oh, absolutely. Things can go viral so quickly these days. Companies have to be really careful. If they mess up with AI or don't do things ethically, people will find out, and it could be disastrous for them. Consumers are getting smarter about this stuff. They want companies to be honest and accountable.
So it's like being ethical with AI is almost like a business strategy. Like if you can show people that you're using it responsibly, it actually makes you stand out, gives you an advantage.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. As AI gets more and more common, the companies that are doing it ethically, they might be the ones who win in the end.
Okay, so we've talked about why ethical AI matters, what those constitutional AI principles are. We even talked about some companies that are actually trying to do this stuff in the real world. But what about the future? Where do we go from here? Is this just a fad, constitutional AI, or is this something that's really going to change how we do AI in the long run?
I think constitutional AI is here to stay. As AI gets, more and more powerful, as it weaves its way into everything, we're going to need those ethical guidelines more than ever. And we're already seeing it. Governments, regulators, they're all starting to think about what AI means and how to make sure it's used responsibly.
So it's like the Wild West days of AI are coming to an end. There's starting to be some law and order.
That's a great way to put it. When any new tech comes along, there's this period where it's all like super fast innovation, not many rules.
Yeah.
But then people start seeing the good and the bad, and they realize, okay, we need some rules, some ways to keep things in check.
But I mean, how can rules and laws keep up with AI? It changes so fast. Seems like every time they write a new law, AI has already done something totally different.
Right. That's a real problem. The way we usually make laws, it takes forever. And AI moves so quickly, that old system just doesn't work.
So what do we do? Are we just stuck always playing catch up?
Well, there are some new ideas about how to deal with this. Some people are saying we need a principles-based approach. So instead of super specific rules, you have these broad ethical principles, and then those can be used to create guidelines and best practices that can change as AI changes.
Okay, so you're saying we need the foundation, like the core values, to stay the same, but the actual rules can be more flexible.
Yeah, exactly. That way it can keep up. Because AI is not going to slow down, right?
Yeah.
We need a system that can guide ethical development, but doesn't kill innovation.
That sounds good in theory. But just having principles isn't enough, is it? You need a way to make sure people actually follow them, to hold companies accountable. Otherwise, it's just words, right?
You're right, 100%. And that's where the cool stuff comes in. People are developing what they call AI auditing tools. They're designed to, check AI systems, make sure they're not biased, make sure they're following the rules.
Well, it's like having an AI police force. making sure the other AIs are behaving themselves.
Kind of. They can come in and say, nope, your AI is out of line, you got to fix it.
Yeah.
It's about having that independent check, that accountability to make sure things are being done right.
Okay, so we've got these new ways to think about laws, these auditing tools, and more people are starting to care about this stuff. What else is coming? What trends are going to shape the future of constitutional AI?
Well, we already talked about explainable AI, and that's going to be huge.
Right.
As AI gets more complex, we have to be able to understand how it makes decisions. Explainable AI is all about opening up that black box, letting us see what's going on inside, and making sure it's ethical.
So it's like giving the AI a chance to explain itself. So we're not just trusting it blindly.
Yeah, and that could totally change how we feel about AI, how much we trust it. It can help us feel confident that it's making decisions that, align with what we believe in.
Explainable AI, got it. Anything else that's like on the cutting edge of this whole thing? What other breakthroughs are shaping how we think about this constitutional AI thing?
Another big one is AI governance tools. We touched on this earlier. These are like the tools that help companies put ethical AI into practice. They can do all sorts of things, from making sure data privacy is handled right to checking for bias in AI systems.
So it's like a toolkit for ethical AI, everything a company needs to build and use AI the right way.
That's it. And they're getting really advanced. They're really helping companies figure out this whole ethical landscape,
Yeah.
They're giving them concrete ways to put those principles like transparency, accountability, and fairness into action.
This is all really impressive, but I'm wondering, could there be any downsides to all of this? Could focusing so much on constitutional AI actually slow down AI development? Is all this regulation and stuff going to stifle innovation?
It's a good question, and it's something we have to be really careful about. We need to find that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Too much regulation, and you can crush creativity.
Mm-hmm.
But no regulation, and, well, things can get messy, right? Unethical things can happen, and people lose trust.
So it's like walking a tightrope, trying to find that sweet spot where we're encouraging innovation, but also keeping things ethical.
That's it. We need regulations that are flexible, that can adapt. Regulations that focus on the goal, not just the specific tech. That way, we can encourage ethical development without telling people exactly how to do it.
Makes sense. It's about setting the boundaries, but not micromanaging every step.
Yeah, exactly. Constitutional AI isn't about stopping progress. It's about making sure that progress benefits everybody. Making sure AI is used to make our lives better, not to control us or take advantage of us.
That's a great way to put it. This deep dive has been amazing. I'm actually feeling pretty good about the future of AI after hearing all of this. It sounds like a lot of really smart people are working hard to get this right.
I feel hopeful too. There are some big challenges ahead, but there are also some incredible opportunities. If we stay focused on ethics, on human values, then AI can really be a force for good in the world.
I love that. AI for good. It reminds us that tech is just a tool, right? It's up to us to use it the right way.
Absolutely. We're the ones writing the story of AI. The future isn't set in stone. We're making it every day with the choices we make.
And that brings us to the big question for our listeners. What role do you play in all of this? We've talked about the principles, the challenges, the possibilities, but ultimately the future of AI is something we're all creating together. It's weird, right? AI is all around us now. But most of us don't really get it. We don't get how it works or how it might change things. What can we do to get smarter about AI so we can be informed citizens in this whole new AI world?
Well, I think the first step is just awareness.
Wait.
Read articles, listen to podcasts, talk to people about it. All of that helps to make AI less mysterious.
Yeah, so it's about taking charge of our own understanding, not just letting the tech world happen to us.
Exactly. And once we understand it better, we can start asking the important questions. Like, what are the good things about AI? What are the bad things? Are companies being upfront about how they're using our data? Those are all things we could be thinking about.
Right, so being informed is the first step. But then what? How do we actually do something? How do we help shape how AI develops?
Well, our choices matter. Right. We can choose to support the companies that are trying to do AI the right way. We can vote for policies that encourage ethical AI. And if we see something that seems off, we can speak up.
Okay, so it's we have to do our part individually, but also work together to push for bigger changes.
Yeah, that's it. And, never underestimate the power of just talking about it. With your friends, family, whoever, share articles, share what you're learning. The more we talk about ethical AI, the more it becomes something everyone cares about. And that's how we make a difference.
I like that. Making ethical AI something we all talk about, not just the tech geniuses.
That's the dream, right? That AI is something that benefits everyone, not just a few people. That we all have a say in how it's used.
This has been such an amazing deep dive. I think a lot of times AI feels like this thing that's like way off in the future, but it's not. It's already here, and it's changing things in huge ways. And we have to make sure it's used for good.
I agree. The future of AI is in our hands, really.
Well said. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into constitutional AI in CRM. Hopefully everyone out there listening is feeling a little more informed, maybe even a little bit inspired.
It's been great exploring this with you.
And as always, if you have something you'd like us to deep dive into, send it our way. We're always looking for new ideas. So until next time, keep those brains working and keep those deep dive suggestions coming.